Are we live here? New program. Let's see how this is working. Looks like I'm not live yet. Now I'm live. Am I live? New programs. Working out bugs here. Apologize, I'm 3 minutes late. So I think everything should be going okay. I need somebody to say something to me. Hello, my name is Todd Standing. I'm the man that takes people out in the field and has them either live interact with or eyewitness a Sasquatch. SoCal Forest Ninjas. There we go. We seem to be live. Everybody can hear me well, I'm assuming. Again, this is all new program stuff. We should have no glitches today. I did a test. Hello, Danielle. Jonathan! What the heck? Jonathan Witten, the man from Atlanta. How are you, sir? I didn't even know you came out to these things. So, yeah, nice to see you. Jonathan, Jonathan's an expeditioner. He's not allowed to ask any questions because he's been on bloody expedition with me. And I talk to him all the time. So you're a friend, so you don't get any special treatment. I'm not interested in you. You're boring. So we're gonna talk about Sasquatch tonight. I'm gonna answer questions. Hello, Amanda. Thank you for coming in. Um, I'm supposed to say hello to Colin from the United Kingdom, and I should warn all of our viewers from the United Kingdom. Uh, this is my right arm, and that is what Amanda is to me. She's my right arm. She's an enormous part of this cooperation, and she lives in the UK. And I just had somebody email me that there's somebody telling me there's 6,000 Sasquatch in the United Kingdom, and Amanda lives there, and she's gonna have words about that. So, and I'm gonna really roll with Amanda on this. That it's extremely unlikely there are Sasquatch in the UK. I can't say I've never been there yet. I have been to Sweden. There are no Sasquatch in Sweden. I can almost guarantee you that. Sweden is beautiful, amazing habitat. They have grizzly bears and moose. Moose are huge in Sweden. They love their Vikings. I had a wonderful time there. I was super happy to go, and met with lots of locals. And the Vikings, the Vikings never saw anything about Sasquatch. So that's how I do things. I know I've said this before, but it's the local indigenous people that matter to me. When you go to the local indigenous people in Canada and the United States, they say Sasquatch are here. And I'm not talking even about natives anymore. We've been here. I say we, the Europeans, have been here in Canada and the United States for hundreds of years now, at least over 100 years. We're pretty indigenous. I feel pretty indigenous. And I know people in the United States, the Pacific Northwest, all the way through down into Texas, through California, Oregon. You're 3, 4 generations out there, 5 generations now. We're indigenous people. We've lived here a long time, and a lot of the indigenous people, indigenous Americans, and I'm an indigenous Canadian. I'm a Northman in Canada, and we know Sasquatch are real, and that's all we have to say about that. You don't tell us, when it goes into the native people in Canada and the United States, they know Sasquatch are real too. They don't. You go into reserves, you talk to the natives, they know Sasquatch. The term Sasquatch means wild master of the wilderness. It was formerly thought to mean wild man. It is not. I've met with the Salis Nation, First Nations people that named the Sasquatch, and Sasquatch is the actual term, and it means wild teacher, which is very significant because the native people are saying that the Sasquatch are their teachers. They're my teachers. When I went out with you, Jonathan, what I was teaching you is what I've learned from the native people in Sasquatch. So I feel like we're all students. All the people that I work with are students. I've been out with Survivor Man, the great John Benernagel, and who's a wildlife biologist, PhD, and the Sasquatch are real, and we're always learning. We're always students. Even when you have a PhD like John Benernagel, as you can see in my documentary, I taught him stuff. He taught me stuff, and it was amazing. So SoCal, there is not there to get around. Okay, so we're having some chats. I'm looking for some questions. Maybe Sasquatch had not migrated yet at the time of the Vikings. Well, but if they didn't migrate, they were. I don't think they would have migrated over to Sweden though. That's a good question. But I'm still gonna say solidly, like the indigenous people that are there today. I met backcountry guys that are, I don't know if they were wilderness experts. They had some decent. I can't speak too well because I only spent a day or a matter of hours with certain people. I wasn't there for very long, but they knew they were good, but nobody hears about Sasquatch out there, and the sightings are not. They just don't carry a lot of weight to me, and there's not a lot of evidence. And you have to understand, out here in the Pacific Northwest in North America, we have profound freaking evidence. We have ridiculous, incredible, amazing evidence. That's why I wanted to go to court. That's why I am still going to court. The trial is still going to happen. I'm just I'm way behind with stuff. I'm trying to get help from people and cooperate more. So yeah, apparently Mason White Sylvanic and SRG has a new video about Sasquatch trackway I found. Tell Todd to check it out. And I think yeah, I think there's and I like tracks. Videos and photos of tracks are good, but I really can't, for the most part, I can't really put my stamp of approval on tracks until I really see them. There's an organic traits that I look for. There's a feel to real Sasquatch tracks that I really need to be boots on the ground and be there for it. But it's always interesting to have a look and see them. There are some tracks that are so fake I can tell you they're fake by looking at the photos, but other ones I really need to. What it is you got to see a trackway. You got to, like, the Sasquatch don't just appear and disappear. I don't. They're living beings. They're not. I know that people will disagree with me, but from my research, remember, I'm a student of John Bitternagel, Les Stroud, and Survivor Man. They are my colleagues and my teachers, and we are all of the fact that they are just living beings. Bears are not incredible, amazing, you know what I mean? Bears can follow the scent of things, and that's not magical. And, animals have incredible abilities. Deer can hear and smell and see incredibly well. Animals and species in the wilderness are amazing. People get upset when I call Sasquatch animals. They're hominids. You can be upset, but I consider human beings animals. So we're animalia. We're in that category. So don't be offended if I ever say that. I was referring to Sasquatch often as primates. We are primates, but their DNA is so close to us that they're obviously. Actually, my colleagues and I were calling them Homo americanus, right? Because they're the original American indigenous species that have lived and flourished on this continent. I mean, they're the real wilderness wild primates of North America. There's no arguing that if you are going to admit they exist. It's incredible how they survive. They're amazing. Blaze of Silver says, "Hey Todd, I'm hearing an interesting story that suggested when you encounter a smelly Sasquatch, it's because he's wearing a skin of an animal he's killed on a." No, 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 no. You think it's a no, no, Blaze and Silver. No, 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 no. The smell of a Sasquatch is very. When I'm out in the wilderness, when expeditioners are out with me, and I go, "There's a Sasquatch. Do you smell that?" It's a Sasquatch. The only thing that's ever smelled quite similar to a Sasquatch smell was gorillas, and I learned about how a gorilla, even their gorilla and Sasquatch have experience with both, where a gorilla will be acutely angry at you, and he's angry at you here and now. I've actually seen their pores open, like you can see their pores and they open, and urine will drip out. That's when they're really angry, and that's an acute kind of a sweet primate gorilla smell. I've never smelled. I haven't got experience with chimpanzees, but I know about gorillas, and I've seen those pores open, and I've seen urine dripping out of them when they're angry, and they're looking at you, and they're flexing, and they're mad. You can see and you could smell that acute gorilla smell. And then there's when the gorilla was mad, days and days ago, just that general gorilla smell. That's a long, like a more of a sour smell, and I can tell the difference between the two. And that's really significant because if there's a Sasquatch out there right now and I could smell that acute smell, that he's mad right now, that matters. And the times that that's happened to me, I was really upsetting them. It was a very adversarial thing. I've had Sasquatch want to threaten me and really through body language. And in California, the Sasquatch there would have killed me. He'll kill me if I go back there. He latched onto me. He hurt me really badly, and he was just letting me know he's going to kill me. And the smell that came off of him was very acute smell. He also, maybe it was just that he also had a more of a older male smell. The younger males come around me a lot, and that seems to be different. Maybe that's just the Canadian and California. I shouldn't get into that too specifically. But then I've also smelled Sasquatch that are just like lingering around, and they just smell. And I think those are, that's Sasquatch that are just, I think what was happening those times is there was a a male Sasquatch that was trying to infiltrate my radium Sasquatch. This is a long story, and I should probably I'll get into the whole thing. So, outside of the main research area, there was a Sasquatch around me, and he smelled like an old stinky smell. And I think he was picking a fight with the dominant male in radium where I study Sasquatch, my main research area. And I think there was a Sasquatch fight, and because I heard like sounded like two King Kongs fighting each other, screaming, yelling, trees smashing. It was unreal. And a few days later, I went back to the general area and I saw two structures that were built, incredible structures, and Sasquatch tracks all over the place, ripped up, busted trees. It was a mess. And so there's two structures, and it was interesting too. The natives have used the rivers, and even we use the rivers as that barrier markers, as territory. And the Sasquatch were on each side of the river. So my Sasquatch that I know, the big dominant male from the radium troop, was on one side of the river, where the troop is, and the other male that was a different trackway. And his tracks, his feet looked different. I could see it. He was different. Um, Anyways, he was on the other side, and the whole forest was torn apart, and I was just so shocked. Actually, it was one of those mind blowing things that I really couldn't even comprehend in my. It's hard to explain. The whole wilderness was like just this energy was like scary and spooky, and hearing those sounds, maybe I was maybe 7 miles away, 10 kilometers away from the sounds, and I could hear them off in the distance. It was scary. It was so scary. My heart was telling me stay the hell away from there. It was just scary. But I went there, I checked it out. And what's significant too is I went back there a year later, and the structure across the river was all torn down. Like the structure that the infiltrating male made was all torn down, all ripped apart, and it looked violently torn down. It was a nice structure. It was ripped apart. And then I got footage. I didn't get footage of that structure. I just had footage of it torn down, and then the other structure across was still there. And eventually that one's been torn down too, for other reasons, which is a whole other incident. But yeah, so let's get into some more questions. Boy, I can really talk about stuff, huh? Are hair samples getting tested from the recent videos? That would be recent videos. You say video. And from the video that's up on YouTube. That's Jonathan, you're cheating. I didn't even realize that was Jonathan asking the question. I'm working on that. We'll see if it's Freddie. It's Freddie's video. And Freddie's going to send me that. And then I'm going to save up some money and get it tested. So, and I'm going to get it tested under somebody else's name. I'm going to get a family member who doesn't have the same last name as me to send it in. There's reasons for that, just so we want to make sure that the test is cleaner, because everybody knows who I am. I'm a Sasquatch guy, and I don't know what I don't trust what the geneticists are sneaky, and they suck. These geneticists, I'd like to find a geneticist that has, for lack of a better term, some intestinal fortitude, some balls, because they just seem like a bunch of cowards. I talk to them about stuff, and I tell them the truth about my results, and they make up some pathetic excuse and refuse to accept my results, which sucks. And I had a Sasquatch hair tested many years ago in a Canadian city called Edmonton. I went to the University of Alberta, and I had a hair tested there. And what happened was the jerks were all getting in the newspaper because some drunk guy says he saw a Sasquatch, and then they tested the hair, and it was a bison hair, which is pathetic. I don't think there were bison in the area. And they made it into like this, look, there's no Sasquatch. This guy was crazy. It's a bison hair. So I show up on their doorstep, and I say, hey, I went to school here. I know some of your faculty. My name's Todd Standing, and I wasn't by any means famous at the time. And I gave them some Sasquatch hair and asked them to test it. And then they were, looking at me sideways, and I wanted a full genome. And they told me they wouldn't do it. Then they told me they're going to charge me. They said it was $2,000. Then I gave them $2,000. They said it was $3,000. They came back with $3,000. They're like, you're not going to quit, are you? And I went, nope. And they go, we're not going to talk to the media about this, because they were looking at me sideways. I think I did have my video 1 and 2 was done. So they were looking at me kind of sideways. You're serious? And I was like, this is a hair. This is not fur. This is not bison. I know hair. I know fur. This is not bison. There's no bison in this area. It was, they thought maybe it was a horsehair or something. Then they tested it. When I went back to get the test, they gave me my money back cash, made me sign for it. And then they escorted me out of the premises. I was not allowed back there. Didn't get my hair back. Never said a damn thing. And I'll tell you why that happened, because that was Sasquatch hair. That was absolutely Sasquatch hair. I've learned in the years since the phenotypes to look for a Sasquatch hair. That was Sasquatch hair. And the problem was these eggheads don't want to be the ones to admit that Sasquatch are real. if they would have talked about their findings, and they could choose to not even talk about it. Believe me, these faculties can do whatever the hell they want. It's disgusting. They're about science, and science is about the truth. And they must have thought that I was some sort of mad genius that was making Sasquatch DNA, but that can't happen either, because I've said this before. I'll say it again real quick. So this is the scale. Let's say there's a scale of how our DNA is similar. So it's backwards here. So if gorillas are here, chimpanzees are here, and then it's humans are here, right? Sasquatch are over here. It's like working in the mirror here. The point of that is it can't be mixed with chimpanzee and human DNA. It's something else. So, that's the big thing. That's the great thing about Sasquatch DNA is it's orangutan, gorilla, chimpanzee, human, Sasquatch. And when you think about the reality of it, I mean, what's so amazing about that information, knowing that about the Sasquatch DNA is they're more they're more advanced hominid than us, and that makes sense because we're both bipedal, and we're incredibly similar. They're the most they're the most man-like primate on the planet. The fact they're bipedal, the way their hands are, their look, their body style, just the fact that they're upright is enormous because there's no other primate that's truly bipedal, just us and Sasquatch. I know there's a lot of differences, but the point is they're more hominid than us. They're a more advanced hominid than us, and that just makes so much sense to me because they're a tougher, better surviving hominid in the wilderness, in the North American wilderness. So it's so important to get that, to really understand that. Like, that is amazing. They're so advanced. And when this DNA comes out, when we can get a better hold on the DNA, um, you know, there'll be more information, and it'll be so amazing. And yeah, so hey Todd, my friend, I told you about a few weeks ago. I still having problems with the Sasquatch that knocked her mobile home off the foundation. Whoa, this is Brian Gibbon. So I told you about a few weeks ago is still having problems with the Sasquatch. Sorry, Brian, I don't remember talking about that. When did we talk about that? A Sasquatch knocked over a mobile home. Holy crap. But you got to send that information, please, Brian, to bigfootencounter@gmail.com. Maybe I'm so sorry. I just don't remember right now. I got so much stuff going on. I work so bloody hard every day, and my life is just like being pulled in 50 different directions. So, oh my God. Steve with Sokatats. Sorry, I'm so bad with last names. In your experience, if there's a very small family group with only one male, what would the females do if the male passes away and leaves until a new male arrives? Oof, yeah, just nothing. I mean, I've actually, I'm very convinced that's actually that happened in Morley back in 2012. That happened with a Sasquatch troop out just outside of Indian Reserve called Morley. I was working there, and yeah, they just do nothing. They just try to survive, But remember, I mean, is it going to be a hardship? No. The female is going to know how to survive. Females are tough, man. Women are tough. The anthropologically, I've had some anthropologists tell me that the toughest human beings that have ever existed on planet Earth are the Native American women, and they have reasons for that. And it's amazing and I agree, they're so tough, so tough. So the females can survive. Sasquatch are such an apex species, and in that troop there was a female, I would say, was about 10 years old, and a male that was about 12 years old. I think the 12-year-old male can survive all by. I'm actually 100%, no, 99% convinced the 12-year-old could survive all by himself. The female could survive all by herself. The young male that was a problem, he was probably 6 or 7 years old, ballpark. He was the young one in the group, and he was banging on the houses around Morley and causing trouble when the human females would go into heat. He would rip their garbage apart and bang on the windows and stuff, right? And be looking in the windows and scaring people. So, but anyways, I don't think it'd be a problem. I just think there's such a well. It's I have a feeling they were having a harder life because of all the encroachment and all the logging and all the damage they were doing to the forest. But yeah, I think they'll do okay on their own. A cattle fence. This is SoCal Ninja. A cattle fence was bent by something climbing over it in Mason's video. Cool. I've seen one of the coolest things I've ever seen Sasquatch do power wise was a bear proof container. I have this whole incident that happened on snowmobiles, Sasquatch trackway, all this incredible stuff that happened. But it started out because these native people were making bannock and drying meat and stuff and putting it in a bear proof container. And the Sasquatch they didn't open they're intelligent enough to probably open it and lift the handle and stuff. They didn't do that. They took like steel, rolled steel, and just bent it and just twisted it open. The power it would take to do something like that. I remember looking at that. I have photographs of it. Oh my God. I was just scared at the incredible, like, I don't, gorilla enclosures, you're not supposed to call them cages. The gorilla enclosures have really thick steel. It's fortified and lined, and I don't know if a Sasquatch could, I don't think a Sasquatch could bend that just because of the way the steel is all fortified and lined up in bars. But maybe they could because they're so strong. Oh my God. They're twice the size of a gorilla, and the power that I've seen, like, even, since Jonathan's here, like, my God, Jonathan, remember those trees that I showed you that they broke over? I showed them on Survivor, man. These enormous trees, with, I don't know, 2.5, 3 foot base, and they're pushed over by Sasquatch. And I'm very convinced when I show expeditioners, I go, okay, look, there's smaller trees that are pushed over. And these trees are pushed over, let's say 4 years ago, smaller trees. Then bigger trees, they get cut by the trapper or somebody comes along. I showed this on Survivor, man. And then you see a bigger set of trees pushed over, and they're 2 years old, and they're like, a foot wide. I couldn't pull those over with my 1-ton truck. I couldn't. And they're like pulled over, like the roots are torn out of the ground, and they're all pulled over exactly over the trail. So one set's pulled over, cut. The bigger set's pulled over and cut. This is the one that Survivor Man filmed. And he's like, and it's right on each end of the trail, perfectly. And Survivor Man can't do that. Like, we can't do that. I couldn't duplicate that. I couldn't do it with an Argo. I couldn't get a truck out there. It can't be done, people. That's what impressed Survivor Man. That's why Les talked about it on his show. And that's why I show that to expeditioners. But then I kind of cringe and I go, okay, guys, take a deep breath. 3-foot bases, bent right over and busted right over the trail. It's like the Sasquatch are saying, okay, you did it with 6-inch bottoms. You did it with 2-foot bottoms. Or even a 1.5 bottoms, and here's double. A 3 feet wide tree busted over the trail that was not cut. After that, these people went around the bush and back onto the trail. Like, I'm not cutting that thing. It's huge. You'd cut it with, if you had a chainsaw and you have to chop it into little slices. You'd spend 4 hours moving this tree because you couldn't. If you just cut it once, your quad or dirt bike or Argo couldn't pull it away. It would be, the broken tree would be 800 pounds, couldn't drag it off, maybe more. And it's got branches and stuff, right? So the people just went around it. And I can imagine the Sasquatch going, really? Like, man, how ignorant are these people? Like, and it's true, and I agree. Like, I can't imagine, oh my God, how ignorant and ridiculously, what the hell are people thinking? And even me, and I'm saying people, even me, because I go there, like, I'm thinking, what is going on? Trees broke, and I'm like, are you kidding me? And what really was a kicker was on another trail, way in the backcountry. Sasquatch broke trees for me, and there were tree breaks and there tracks all over the place. I was like, these breaks look like Nordic breaks, and I go back to the north, like I'm walking over these breaks, and I'm supposed to. People call me a Sasquatch expert, right? And even at the time, I was a Sasquatch. I am not a Sasquatch expert. Come on. I learned so much, man. And I picture the Sasquatch in the bush going, brrr, brrr. Like, what is it going to take for these dumbasses? I take a PhD out there, John Bitternagel and Jeff Meldrum, and I show them the Sasquatch structure that is so impossible to have happen naturally. It's, a tree is shoved in, the end's broken off, and then shoved back in at a different angle. Like, this is impossible to happen. It is clearly a Sasquatch, and the PhDs I take out there are looking at it and going, well, maybe it could happen naturally. And even John Bitternagel, I love the man. I love the man. He's looking at it going, I'd like to talk to somebody else. I'd like to get a wildlife guy or a forestry guy that's been looking at this stuff all his life and substantiating that this is. But you don't need that, John. Just look at it. Like, just look at it. And then John would go away and take pictures, and he'd come back in a couple months and he goes, that's not possible. That can't happen naturally. Either a man did that or a Sasquatch. And then you look at how much work it would have been to do that, even how impossibly difficult that would have been. Like, you would have needed a heavy machine in there to lift stuff up. Well, I guess you could use ropes and pulleys, but what the hell, people? Come on. And there's Sasquatch activity all over the place. Apple's taken and Jeff Meldrum sees a Sasquatch. Like, what the hell do we have to do? You know, like, it's just so funny to me. The evidence is so profound. I mean, Jonathan, again, I'm going to talk about you, Jonathan, since you came out on an expedition and he was there for 7 days, learned a tremendous amount. But what happened was we got charged by a Sasquatch, came charging at us. And you know what's awesome about this? Okay, so a Sasquatch charges at us. He smashed over a tree. We couldn't find the tree. We couldn't find tracks. The next expedition, we found trees. The Sasquatch did it again. We found trees and tracks. So that charging of a Sasquatch was substantiated. I'm pretty sure Jonathan is very convinced that he was charged by a Sasquatch. What was amazing about that, what creates greatness and why I love taking these people out on expedition is it was Jonathan and Cody were the 2 expeditioners out there on time. Another person came later. He was a few days late for work. But anyways, Jonathan, so I have a gun, and I pull out the gun and I step forward in case it's a grizzly bear, because the thunder is coming, guys. Like, this is like, smash, crash. Like, it was loud. We heard it vividly. So I pull out my gun and I'm pointing it, and I'm waiting, and I wait a few seconds. Then I hear like the boom, boom. I hear the Sasquatch. I go, okay, holster the gun. It's a Sasquatch. I turn around. Jonathan's picked up the tactical shotgun. And he's got it like held properly, like he's all ready to go. Right at one side. At the other side, Cody's got my knife, and he's holding it ready to go to battle. Do you know what most people do? Most people run. Most people are like, boy, they'd be hiding in the truck. And I'm talking 95% of people are hiding, scared, running. Not Jonathan. Jonathan is U.S. military, Ranger. And Cody is just a badass, tough guy, kind of like a UFC trained fighter guy, wrestler. But you test your mettle, right? You test your mettle. Where are these boys? They're stepping forward. Something thunderous is coming through the woods, and we're in the hella middle of nowhere. I'm showing these guys Sasquatch this, Sasquatch that. Oh, Jonathan loved the tree breaks line that we found. Jonathan, we woke up one morning. I'm going to talk about this because it's so fun. I wasn't going to... Anyways, we wake up one morning, and I've been all over this place. I've been everywhere, over and over and over. I've spent, I probably got 50 days out there just wandering around, all around base camp, because I go out and come back every day. So maybe a 10-mile radius, right? So for the most part. Anyways, I wake up one morning, we're all talking. I'm not sure. We've done a couple things, and I go, so where do you want to go? And I'm pretty sure it was Jonathan. Jonathan went that way. I was like, yeah, let's go that way. I'd been that way a few times. So we went that way. And that way, I don't know, what was it, maybe 400, I'd say between 300 and 600 yards from base camp, we found a line of tree breaks that were awesome. They were so awesome. And there were so many. They were maybe 50 to 200 yards apart in a line. And they were clearly pointed away from the base camp, and they were big ones, big, impressive tree breaks. They were a couple years old. And they were telling this, it was the big male Sasquatch. This is my theory. The big male Sasquatch made those breaks to tell his troop of younger Sasquatch, you don't get closer than this. This is as close as you get to the, or it's a danger past here, major danger. And those tree breaks were made not for human beings, but for Sasquatch. And it was funny because I thought the Sasquatch charging at us was the most exciting thing in the expedition. And both Jonathan and Cody agreed it was not. It was that line of tree breaks that we discovered. And they discovered it, man. There's no... I know I say this because it's ridiculous, but there's no fake in this stuff, guys. I can't fake a single tree break. If you see how authentic they are, the pressure break and how amazing they are, you've probably heard me talk about it. And it's just like that can't happen naturally. And we have a freaking lineup of them. Like, what did we see, Jonathan? I think we gave up after we saw the fourth one. It was like one and another and another and another. And then we just said, that's like, okay, we get it. They're all lined up. And I'd never been there before. And those tree breaks were at least 3 years old. I'd only been coming there for 2 years. So, or maybe it was 3 years I was coming there. Anyways, it can't be, I don't know, guys. That's what makes these expeditions so great. And that's why Jonathan's coming back and Cody's coming back. And 90% of my expeditioners that do the 7 days and don't quit, that can handle it, these people that really get it and manage it, they come back. I think it's higher than 90% actually. When I take into account, so some people will quit because it's hard, it's scary. I had a primatologist, a primatologist that had gorilla experience. She's been in Rwanda at the Dian Fossey Research Center with gorillas. She spent years doing that. She came out on an expedition with me, and she saw a grizzly bear scat, and she quit. She's like, I know gorillas, and gorillas are nothing. Bears, we don't know this in North America. People brag about how strong gorillas are, and chimpanzees. A 200-pound black bear is stronger than a 400-pound gorilla. A 200-pound black bear is twice as strong as a chimpanzee. And if there was ever an altercation, like we're talking, a 200-pound black bear is butthole nothing. In case you don't, that's a 3-year-old, maybe 4-year-old black bear. Black bears can get up to 600 pounds, the boars, right? So a good general weight for them is around 400, and I'd say the females are 300 pounds. So a non-full-grown black bear, even a non-full-grown female, would tear a freaking silverback gorilla apart, destroy them. So when she saw the scat of that big pile of scat from a grizzly bear and the big tracks, and he was walking right down past our base camp, and I told her, I said, I need you to go back. I have to go get rid of this bear because he's actually kind of interested in us. So I need to go teach him a lesson. So I went and ran him off. And what I do is I teach bears to stay away from people. And most importantly, I guess to stay away from me and my expeditioners because it can't be hunted. I can't tolerate a bear coming around us and hunting him. So I've been taught by the native people how to go teach him a lesson. So I went and taught that bear a lesson. That bear ended up running away from me, terrified, and learned to fear people and fear me. So I went back and she saw what I'd done. I was going to go show her the trackway of the bear and him running and everything that I'd just done. And she wasn't interested. She was like, I got to go home. My uncle's sick. And the excuse was preposterous, right? There's no cell phone signal. How the hell do you know your uncle's sick? Oh, and he just gave me some crazy, stupid excuse, and she just got scared and went home. Point is, this happened to me 5, 6, 7 times. Quite a few. I'd say about one in 8 people that come out with me quit. They can't handle it. They realize I'm not kidding. They realize it's no joke. They have some incident that transpires. Even people, they'll get charged by Sasquatch will come around, they'll quit. Jonathan and Cody were freaking excited after a Sasquatch charged at us, right? Like they were excited. Like these guys lit up, and then I showed them more structures and tracks and stuff, and they just got excited, and we had so much fun. And that's why I just love my expeditions, guys. And I can't wait for you to come back out. Jonathan is such a badass. He's so tough, and he was such an amazing student. Like when you take somebody out and you show them, here's some bearberries, here's some vitamin C berries, all these different things that, low bush cranberries, and you see him picking them and eating them with confidence. You see him, oh, hey, look, there's a deer. Oh, hey, look, here's some elk. Jonathan was doing that. Weren't you taking pictures? Jonathan was taking pictures on his phone, and he actually got a cell phone signal at one point when we were way back country, I remember, and now I know why. But anyways, yeah, when you see a student learn like that and pick things up and show his real mettle, show that he can really manage this stuff. Jonathan is one of 5 people that I'm very excited to take up to the spot where Survivor Man filmed the top of the head of a Sasquatch and leave his ass up there, and he wants to do it. And it's very hard for me to do that, but at this point, I'm going to start doing that with people. And I expect Jonathan will probably come up next year and do that. So it's awesome to be meeting people and working with kindred spirits like that. And that's why I keep doing the expeditions, because it's really, the expeditions help with the research. These people pay for my time out there. And I'm a full-time Sasquatch researcher, thanks to, the YouTube channel's not pulling in any money right now. It's not making any profit whatsoever. I have to start making weekly videos again, and but it's the donations and the expeditions allow me to be a full-time Sasquatch researcher, and I'm just super happy about it. So, and I love it. I love the wilderness. Jonathan will remember, even I'll talk about this. So Scout came out with us, and Scout was picking up stuff really fast, and he was loving the strawberries, and the strawberries were ripe at that time of year. And something really amazing happened, and it taught me a lesson. So we're hiking out, and I got this big ambition. I want to go really far this day, and I want to get to this special spot. And so we're hiking along, and Scout notices. So we stop, and I make a Sasquatch call, and Scout's like, "Oh my God, there's strawberries everywhere." And the real wild strawberries are so tiny. They're like a a half an inch tall, and they're just really tiny, but they have flavor. The flavor is just punchy. Like it's you buy strawberries in the grocery store and they have nowhere near the punch. Like these are powerful, punchy flavors. So Scout sees all these strawberries all over the place, and he's like, "Oh my God, Todd, can we sit down and just pick strawberries for a while?" I'm like, "No, we got to get going, man. We need to go somewhere." And I go, "Back me up, Cody and Jonathan," and they went, "We'd like to pick strawberries too." And I'm like, "That's awesome. Hell with getting there. Hell with making time and doing things. Let's sit our butts down and eat these wild strawberries." And I'll tell you, 10 seconds after they said it, I realized the Sasquatch will love that. The Sasquatch, we're not going to catch up with the Sasquatch. The Sasquatch were already watching us, and Jonathan's very aware of this at this point. He was leaving rocks for her, and he was talking about his girl, and then there ended up being a female Sasquatch around. Jonathan was the first of two expeditioners that kept telling me, "My girl's out there, my girl." Didn't Jonathan made like a little bundle for flowers for her, and he got a rock somehow that might have had something to do with Sasquatch. She might have left him a rock. I don't remember exactly. I have to go through the footage. This is like, isn't it 3 years ago? 2 years, 2 or 3 years ago? I think 3 years ago almost. 2.5 maybe. Anyway, lots of stuff happened. It was so amazing, and those guys taught me. I was the teacher. I was the expedition leader, and they taught me to chill the hell out and sit my ass down and have some wonderful wild strawberries and enjoy them because it was a wonderful, amazing, magnificent thing. And now this might sound silly, but you're drinking water, you're eating berries and vegetation from the land, and when you eat berries, the way I teach people, we go, where's a bear crap? The bear craps in the woods, and so do we, and we rip up the ground and go and then cover it back up. So what actually happened to Jonathan, you should know, is where everybody was going to the bathroom. There's a million strawberries and blueberry bushes over there now. Millions of them. It's insane how much there are. Probably half from me and half from the expeditioners, but when you eat berries and you go in the bathroom in the wilderness and you bury it like that, it grows into berry bushes. So there's berry bushes all over there. So now we have a bathroom. I mean, I have a trailer, and we go in the bathroom. We don't go in the bush anymore, Jonathan. And it's good that we don't. And I don't want to eat those berries because, I know how they got there. I know why they're there. So our bathroom became berry bushes. And isn't that amazing, though? It's just wonderful. We're part of nature. We're part of the ecosystem. We took only photographs and left tracks and berry bushes because of the way we survived out there, right? That's what the berries want. That's why the berries are there. You're supposed to eat them and then poop them out, and then they grow into bushes. That's the whole point of it. That's why berries do that, right? So, yeah, funny stuff, right? But they're just, you want to see me light up and be happy, talking to expeditioners, and these are my friends now. Like Jonathan is, he's just a true, honest friend now. Like Jonathan can come visit me at my house. He's my friend, and we've actually, we've been through some stuff together, and I just think the world of the guy. He's got beautiful children, and I'm honored to be his friend. And why would I keep doing expeditions? Because I can tell you, I have 20 new friends like that. I met Survivor Man because of expeditions, and Cody, Jonathan, when I have to go to Vancouver now for my issues, Cody's there helping me with stuff, So how awesome is that? And Cody's having a baby. I'm gonna be an uncle. Is this crazy, Jonathan? So Cody, who was on the expedition with Jonathan, he's finally got his. When I first met Cody, I think the world of the guy. He got on with my son really well, and boy, that's when you get along with a man's son. Like I love and adore my children, and my son just clicked with Cody. And my son thinks the world of Jonathan too. But anyways, I told Cody, I said, you're going to be such a good dad someday. And he's like, I don't even have a girlfriend. What are you talking about? I go, I wish that on you. I wish you a great girlfriend, and I wish that you're going to be a dad. And now his wife is about 5 months, 6 months pregnant, and they're going to have a baby, and I'm going to be an uncle because he's family to me. And yeah, so that's what's going on with the expeditions, guys. That's the heart and soul of it. It's been amazing, and having these experiences with people has been wonderful. And that's why I don't worry people mentioning Joe Rogan and stuff in here, and that's cool. He doesn't. I don't sweat him. I don't sweat Joe Rogan and his negative opinions and stuff. You're not hurting my feelings because I know what's going on. Jonathan knows what's. Do I have anything to prove to my friends? Amanda's never been out in the wilderness with me, and neither has Danielle or Phil. These people that do all this work with me on the internet and with social media, and they know I'm telling the truth. They know it. They're my friends. They have personal, in-depth information about me. You want to know something about Todd Standing? He's transparent as hell with just transparent. Like I'm so freaking transparent, and that's what just sets me free, is that I really am honest and truthful, and my friends know it. Amanda knows it. Amanda is just a tremendous friend and involved in my life. These people are so personally close to me, and people worry about. Thanks, Jonathan. So people worry about the haters and stuff. The love, the love is. Look at this, Jonathan. I love you, brother. Like congratulations to Cody. So these are my friends, you know, and it's just. I've actually had expeditioners, miraculously, like two people came out on an expedition and now they're best friends, and one's from Virginia, another one's from Kansas, and they just love each other, and they go out and they do things. I'm like, hey, I want to go fishing with you guys. They're doing a trip together and I can't go do a trip with them, and I'm upset about that because now they're great friends, and anyways I want to go do more stuff, and it's just it's been like that. So let's see if I can get some questions. Tamara, I haven't heard anything recently about, and I'd like to get up to Oklahoma. I've seen more recent encounters in eastern Oklahoma. So if you'd like to report that as to Tamara, just you haven't heard anything, but you'd like to get up there. I've seen some more recent. That's great. Isn't it amazing the way Sasquatch are just in so many freaking places, but they're not in Hawaii. Not in Hawaii. Somebody, uh, you'll see a lot of integrity shine through in me. Somebody was going to give me a lot of money to go to. It was like $10,000 plus expenses to go to Hawaii. This is a long time ago, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and find some Sasquatch there. And I happen to know some people from Hawaii, indigenous people that have a history there. And it was on the Big Island. I've never been to Hawaii. I would have went. I would have got to go, but I didn't take his money. I was like, there's no Sasquatch in Hawaii. There's none. There's not reportings, and never mind. There's no reportings. The indigenous people say they're not there, and I just got him in contact with this indigenous man, this indigenous Hawaiian, and he took the guy out, and actually he gave the indigenous Hawaiian friend of mine, he gave him a couple $1,000, and the guy took him around and showed him a bunch of stuff and taught him about the how to survive in Hawaii and all the cool things, and told him right straight, look, my people have been here for thousands of years, excuse me, and there's no Sasquatch there. So it was the same thing when I went to Sweden. Everybody was all excited that the Sasquatch guy that sees Sasquatch everywhere are going to find Sasquatch in Sweden. And I was like, no. You know what they were impressed with? They were impressed with my knowledge of wolves and how I told them how they can fix some problems they were having with wolves. And I became a little bit famous, demi-famous, I guess you can call it, in Sweden, being on the news, talking about how they can fix the wolf problem, and they fixed it. So my brother at Natural Gallant Bodybuilding has a video exploring the sitting site in Harrison. We saw tree breaks there. Yeah, Harrison Hot Springs. Wow, like that's historical Bigfoot stuff, right? And my colleagues that talk about the Harrison Sasquatch, I know one troop that's really close to Harrison are very, very angry and very aggressive. They killed a horse out there, ripped the guy's place apart, and just based on the people and the local people and the different encounters people have had with Sasquatch. I didn't want to do Sasquatch research in Harrison because the Sasquatch there are just angry. I've been to so many places, guys, that the Sasquatch are just pissed off and they don't like people, and I just leave. So what's incredible about Nordegg and Radium are that the Sasquatch are agreeable to people, and that's something you need. They're individuals. That some Sasquatch don't like people. Look at the 411 stuff. Of course there are going to be Sasquatch that kill people. Kill people. Kill people. Get it? Get it straight. I'm going to say it. A Sasquatch is going to kill a human being. If some jerk comes in, starts shooting at his family, the guy's going to die. You're going to die. And maybe there's even just Sasquatch that hate people in general and just going to kill people. There's going to be different. They're individuals. They're different. Hell, they're bears. There's a bear that was an asshole. There's a bear. Here, you want to hear a cool story? So a bear that was trying to kill me, and that Sasquatch actually protected me from this bear when he tried to kill me one time. The first time I ever saw this bear was he was fighting with a sow grizzly bear, and the reason I knew him is this time that I actually got a cue on him and dialed in on what particular bear he was, because he killed a sow grizzly, and when he killed this sow grizzly, what he did was he grabbed hold. I watched all this from up on a mountain. He grabbed hold of one of her cubs and he was making it squeal. So she came back slowly, and she's like, "Let my cub go." You know what I mean? She was good. She came in all mad, and he was making that cub squeal because he wanted the mother to attack him, to bite him. And what happened is, see how I'm holding my head down? He held his head down like this, and she bit his ear voraciously, like she latched on him, and he's killing her cub. He bit his ear and was like ripping on it. And what he did was he stood up with her, and she hung on to his head for dear life. And he shook her off, and as soon as she fell, like she tore his ear, and she fell off, and as soon as she hit the ground, he was right on top of her, and he tore her apart. It was brutal. Ripped her whole throat out, tore her whole chest open, killed her, and then he went after the other cub. Brutal bear. Grizzly bear, males, boars. I saw it. They killed that bear killed a female. That bear was a killer. That bear was a man eater. He wanted to kill people. He killed that sow. He was very vicious. And just the point is, there's a bear right there. Like there's the boar that was before him, the dominant boar that's gone in my area radium. He was awesome. He wanted nothing to do with me. In fact, a TV show that was, I gave a TV show that wanted to do a TV show back in, I don't know, 10 years ago, 11 years ago. I gave them footage of that bear charging at me like, "Oh my God, that's so cool." I go, he'll do it. No, he bluff charges at me. He was such a good bear. His bluff charges were blatantly bluffs. And he just wanted to stay away from people. He was see, there's a good bear and there's an asshole bear. So you want to hear an amazing story too? That asshole bear, I was going for blood. I talked to my colleagues, I talked to the natives, they're like, "You got to kill that bear. That bear needs to die. That's a man eater. He hunts you, he hunts people, he's going to hurt somebody." You know how that bear died? This is a story. So on the Kootenai Highway, where people have witnessed Jake before, the Kootenai National Park is right on the edge of where I do my research. And that bear was walking down the Kootenai Highway, and I believe it was a woman, was riding we have these bikers that ride on the highway, these cyclists. It's 100 kilometers, which is about, 60 miles between towns. So they cycle these distances. Anyway, she was cycling along, and that bear, I'm sure it was that bear, just by everything what went down, the size of the bear, the time of year where he went after her to kill her. So this woman is screaming on her bike, and this bear is chasing her, coming to kill her. And what happened is she was beating him downhill, and she was coming to an uphill section where he was going to get her. And what happened was a truck driver rolled down his window. He said, "You pull left!" And she pulled left, and that bear came around, and he ran the bear over on purpose. He killed the bear in his truck to save that woman's life. That was my boy. After that was that son of a bitch of a bear. After this incident I heard about, and it was in the news and stuff. Anyways, after that incident, I've never seen that bear since, and I just seen that bear just before, and he should have been in that area. That was his MO. That was something he would do. And a bear that would actually run down a person and kill them like that bears are going up and down those highways. We have bear 122. He's a very good bear. He's the big bear around here. They call him the boss. I think he's still alive, and he would never do that. The boss would whoop my bear's ass, probably, the bad bear. I never named him, but anyways, the point is, there's bad bears, there's bad mountain lions, and angry hostile. There's bad people. There's serial killer people, right? So some brown dwarf says, "I think they are in Hawaii." And maybe you're right. I just didn't want to take the guy's money, and going into Hawaii, there was a million reasons why I shouldn't be doing that, taking somebody's money. So how do we go out with you? There's Amanda right on cue. Shatas Shaker, Todd's expedition page is right there. My website is discoveringbigfoot.org, and even let's talk for. Two people signed up for expeditions that don't know it yet. 2 wives have called me this year. I just got off the phone with one of them today. It's her husband's dream to come on expedition with me, and he's ex-military, so I can pretty much just sight unseen. When you're military, you're tough, and you've got all that background, like this one particular gentleman is. I'm just going to say you can come, because these military boys are badass. They're trained. They're tough as nails. Every military person that I've taken out with me are tough as nails. I've been nothing but impressed with them. So that's going to be some Christmas presents. And you know how that makes me feel? Can you imagine? I'm going to go to bed tonight knowing that this gentleman, there's 2 gentlemen that are going to get Christmas presents to come on expeditions with Todd Standing. And it makes me happy to know I'm making people happy, because I'm just me. What I do, anybody can do. I just cooperate, be good and honest, and work hard and be dedicated. And you can do this stuff. Anybody can do this stuff. So I'm not special. If you look at me and you're impressed with me, know that I'm just doing it for people. I'm doing it for my species. I love humanity. I think we have a wonderful future. I hope we do. I work hard for it. And yeah, Amanda's talking about something that's kind of important. I got last week. I had quite a bit of donations from that were put on YouTube, and like I look at my figures, and like all that money goes to YouTube. I love YouTube, and I'm super grateful for the platform. And it's not skipping anymore. Yay! It's not going to skip anymore. So unless I have to use my phone, but thanks, Amanda. But yeah. So, anyways, no more skipping. I was so tired of doing that. So, Todd, please put me on your list of Christmas. Please, please. Sure. I should be doing something for Christmas. I'd like to. I don't know. I'm gonna spend some time going through. I have all these incredible donators on. It's on Patreon. You can go to my website and make a donation, but specifically, if you go through my website and make a donation, which is the best way to do it, or you go through Patreon. Patreon's excellent. I think like 90% of the money from Patreon. If you make a donation there, I'm just gonna give people tons of stuff. I've got my mini doc, my documentary, some secret stuff I can't talk about because I probably can't legally be giving that away. But I got posters and photographs. And you know what I want too? I would really like it. I guess you guys can just get this online, but I really want to start giving people. The lady today was telling me about how they go to parties and they're so happy and they talk about me a lot, talk about my movie and Sasquatch because it's not my movie, it's your movie, it's our movie. We did this. So somebody, I didn't even, I paid for like half that movie. Donators, a guy who donated money to me from Ohio, the great state of Ohio, an excellent, amazing friend of mine, donated money to make that movie happen. So we did that. And the reason that I say we is if you know Sasquatch are real and you just go tell people what happened with Survivor Man. Film the top of the head. Look at what Survivor Man has to say about Sasquatch. Survivor Man was a hell of a skeptic. He's not a skeptic anymore. Survivor Man is going out. There's something out there, and we have to figure it out. That's what he's saying now, and there's a damn good reason. That's him being PC, politically correct. He darn well knows there's Sasquatch out there. He filmed the top of the head of a Sasquatch with me, and every episode of Survivor Man, all 4 episodes that I'm in, he live interacted with a Sasquatch the same way Jonathan did, the same way dozens of other expeditioners have. And unfortunately for Jonathan and Survivor Man, they didn't eyewitness a Sasquatch. This year, 43% of people that came out with me eyewitnessed a Sasquatch. Like, wow. Some people on multiple occasions. So some people, Sasquatch came right up to the glass of the darn trailer we were sleeping and looked in the freaking window where somebody was sleeping, like the Sasquatch was that far away. There are fingerprints on the glass from where a Sasquatch tapped the glass. My head was 6 inches from the glass where a Sasquatch tapped the glass. There's fingerprints. Like, it's incredible, the stuff that are happening. And John talks about, Todd, are you writing a new book? Oh my God, I got to do books, and I just have so much stuff going on, and I have so many responsibilities, and my life is crazy. So that's why I need help, and I'm looking for any kind of, like Amanda and Phil and Daniel. Wow, so much help. I need more. I have so much to do, and yeah. So, but anyways, the documentary's for us. Go show people the documentary. Go show people what happened on Survivor Man, because honestly, I've seen all the episodes of Survivor Man Bigfoot. I think Clem too. He might have had a little bit of. He might have had a Sasquatch bust over a tree for him, and then the other episodes, nothing happened. He was forced to go and do other expeditions and stuff. I have not met. Whitney asked if I've met David Pilates. I have not. So he's busier than I am. He's got more stuff going on than I do, and congratulations to him. So just the more I see of David Pilates' work, the more I respect what he's doing. Because he's just being like, he knows what it is, but he's going to let you figure it out for your darn self. These things are happening, and maybe it is Sasquatch, and maybe it's not. But yeah, so, and I think David Pilates would say, look at my stuff, use it. It's information that people need to know, and I want people to, the same thing with me. Sasquatch are out there. When you take a PhD, 2 PhDs out, and, apples are taken, and you convince them of breaks and all the stuff that went on, and then he sees a Sasquatch. John Bernardo live interacts with the Sasquatch and sees tracks from it and busted. Like, it's so profound. When these things are happening, like John Bernardo and and Jeff Meldrum and Survivor Man. Just those are the famous people that came out with me. There's dozens of others. They all come out skeptically. It's extremely rare that I get people coming out going, kissing my ass. It's not. Cody, to this day, is not 100% convinced Sasquatch are real. The day I was showing him, after he'd been charged by a Sasquatch, I showed him structures and tracks and all the stuff that we'd had going on. He smiles and he goes, you know what? I'm a good 80% convinced they're real. And I'm like, what? You were charged by a Sasquatch, man. Yeah, I'm 80%. What percentage convinced are you, Jonathan? So, and Jonathan, if Jonathan thought I was crazy, Jonathan, these men and women that come out with me are awesome. I take intelligent, amazing human beings that teach me stuff. And these people have been amazing, and it's been wonderful to have them come out, and they are skeptical as hell. They look at me at stuff. I see them looking at me really, really, really. Like Jonathan has an army knife that it's from the army. It's like Ranger issue, I think. It's something that's very valuable to him. And we're hiking way in the backcountry, and he dropped his knife. And he looks at me and he goes, I dropped my knife. Oh my God. And then he goes, what kind of a tracker are you really? He gives me that look, right? And I go, I'll go find your knife. Let's go. We'll go get it. He's lost it in the last hour. So I start following his trackway backwards, and immediately he goes, oh, Todd, I didn't even go over there. What are you doing over there? I never went that way. So I'm following this trackway, and boom, there was his knife. Where he wasn't going, that's where his knife was. So, and I give Cody credit too. I was making a mistake of only following his tracks. As I was jogging along, moving too quickly, I can't track at jogging speed. Well, I could at this trackway, but I wasn't able to see his knife, so I walked right over his knife. I'm following his tracks. I walked right over top of his knife. It had fallen in a weird spot, and Cody, who was behind me, says, oh, is this the knife? So Cody actually was following me, following the trackway, but saw the knife. So, isn't this fun? We have 100 stories. I bet you Jonathan has 10 stories that I've even forgotten about. And it's like that with every expeditioner I go out. We have so much fun. And again, going back to Joe Rogan, right? Why aren't I worried about BS like that? I don't mind. It doesn't, Oh, we're doing a newsletter. I'm so excited about that, Amanda, because Phil was doing an amazing job with that newsletter, and I got busy with expeditions. And the newsletters were awesome. We had expeditioners were writing stuff. I can get Jonathan to write something up about his expedition. And so we're putting that in newsletters, perspective of expeditioners. And these guys take photographs and they have their own completely original perspectives. And I love it. I love it. That's what brilliant men and women do. I have a perspective, and I'll listen to what they have to say, and it's genius. It's amazing. It makes you so powerful. I remember there's a story that so this truck goes into a bridge. This is really important to know this. So there's a bridge. The bridge is only, let's say the bridge is 10 meters, or let's say 12 foot height. And the truck that goes into it is 14. So this is a big truck, a big semi. And the trailer gets jammed in there, and they can't get it out. And they got so firefighters are in there and all these police. This is a bridge to a major city downtown. And, this trailer's stuck in there, and they're cutting the bridge. Big deal. You cut the bridge. You can't cut the bridge. Ripping this truck apart, tearing it, doing all this stuff with sledgehammers and torches. And this kid comes along on his bike. True story. This kid comes along on his bike and goes, hey, why don't you guys just let the air out of the tires? So you have all these people, all these engineers, all these firefighters, all these brilliant men standing around trying to get this truck out of the bridge, and the kid on a bike, this kid just riding his bike, goes, hey, just let the air out of the... You know what they did? Shh. They let the air out of the tires, they pulled it straight out. Right? So the point is, you never know where you're going to find genius. And it happens to me all the time. And this just is in life, people. Just shut up and listen to other people. People are brilliant. You'll find the genius in the strangest places, and it's amazing. You can learn from your dog. You can learn from the squirrels outside. I mean, and that's I'm not even kidding. When I go sleeping at night, the squirrels will keep me safe because they'll start chirping off in the distance. I know the squirrels are chirping. I could tell you if there's a predator over there, or if it's a deer. Actually, squirrels don't really chirp at deer and moose. So, it's the animals and people. It's so important. You listen, and, it's Denmark. Again, I love Denmark, Italy, Sweden, Australia, UK, all over the world. People are so interested in this. High level bridge in Edmonton. Hey, Doug, you're right. That's when that happened. So that little let the air out of the tires thing, right? So, anyways, just this has to do with Sasquatch. This is all about Sasquatch. This is about knowledge. This is about we're the reason we are the dominant civilized. We're the dominant species on the planet, the dominant civilized species. If you put us in the wilderness, the Sasquatch are the dominant wilderness species. But we are, I guess, overall, arguably, we are the dominant species on the planet. And I've taught this to my son, and I teach this to people. We couldn't survive naked in the wilderness alone without technology for a month. We'd be dead. We're all about the brain, and we got to use the brain, because if we're not using the brain, we're not going to get anywhere. We're going to be done. We're not going to make it. And there you go, Texas. So, use your brains and cooperate and be peaceful and honest and good and truthful. And eventually you win. And if you don't win, like, you have to understand, I had the opportunity to do, like, just for as an example, so many BS TV shows and BS producers that were unethical and bad people wanted me to do TV shows, and I refused. There was stuff that people have asked me to do that would have damaged Jeff Meldrum and John Bennernig on Survivor Man. Literally, I had to sit down with my wife at the time and say, I could do this, and maybe we could make Sasquatch happen, but I would have to damage the reputation of Survivor Man and Jeff Meldrum and John Bennernig. And I didn't do it. I didn't take the money, because even though it would have made the discovery move forward faster, because money's a tool, and with tools I can get this done, but I didn't do it because I can't be dishonest, and I can't do fake stuff. I wouldn't be able to do a show like Finding Bigfoot, because I would tell the truth. Like, that show was fake, guys. It was fake. They lied. They lied so much. They were very, very deceitful. It was called, the production company name was called Snake Oil Productions. The freaking production company that came and met me, Snake Oil. Hi, we're Snake Oil Productions. Yeah, we're Fraudulent Productions Incorporated. You know what I mean? And they totally acted like that, and very deceitful, and they were very much about competing with me. And in the end, I met a researcher that taught me a ton in Montana because of the bad show I did with Finding Bigfoot. And the reason that Discovering Bigfoot, the movie, happened was because the guy who donated the money for me to do Discovering Bigfoot saw me on Finding Bigfoot and thought I got a raw deal, thought my footage was real, called me up and said, I want to get this done. Let's do a documentary. And he paid for the whole thing. And he's been an amazing, incredible, just a wonderful, incredible man that I'm so grateful to have had in my life. And that was because I didn't quit on like, people, when I was doing the Finding Bigfoot show, people told me, like, a producer, when they came out, just long story short, when they came out, I wanted them to do a show about why you don't harm a Sasquatch, and I was going to provide them with Sasquatch DNA. So this was the agreement I made with the producer. That producer was fired because of that agreement. They weren't going to do my DNA, because if I had real Bigfoot DNA, they can't be the Bigfoot researchers if I have real footage and real DNA. Why are we doing a show with these charlatans when this guy's the real deal? So they came out to damage my reputation and make me look bad and do everything they can to make me seem fake. So that was their goal, and they didn't succeed. I met two amazing people because of that, and it enriched my life dramatically. And the producer that quit before the show came out told me they were going to come do this, and she said, you shouldn't do the show with them. And I said, but I said I would. And they've really made a commitment to come out here, and nobody's coming out to my backyard and doing this show. When I said I would help them, I said I would help them, and I said I would help the show. And if they're going to do something, and they were just, oh my God, guys, they were just so bad. They were so deceitful. They did so many bad things. It was just really bad. The native people that they dealt with, they came down and I introduced them to some native people in Morley, and they lied and cheated to those people in Morley, deceived them, played games with them, ripped them off, literally stole stuff from them. Like, that's how bad these guys were. They stole documents from these people in Morley, and the people in Morley were mad at me after, and rightly so. I was the one that introduced them to these backstabbing weasels, and and it damaged my relationship with many people in Morley, and I never got that relationship back, and rightly so. It was my fault, even though I didn't do it, and I condone all the bad stuff they did. Yeah, it was my responsibility. So Amanda says, Todd has heard them do the shrill scream. Yes, a female specifically. The males, I've never heard a male do like a shrill scream, and I could really I was out on expedition this year, and we heard. It's amazing because I want to hear. I have a perspective, so we heard two calls. Often, just not like there's literally. If you look at Instagram, literally there's one mountain. There's like a river that's maybe a kilometer away, and then a mountain that's like 3 kilometers away, and the mountain goes straight up. The Sasquatch were on this side of the mountain, so pretty close. Still off in the distance, but we heard a male Sasquatch call and a female Sasquatch call. And the woman that I was with said, the boy is over here, and I heard the girl over there. And I said, I agree. It sounded like a male and a female, didn't it? And she went, are they calling to each other? And I went, absolutely not. Those calls are for us. You know, this is what I've been doing with them. Only twice that year did they call to me. I did a call to them every single night. That was one of the times. And yeah, it was a boy and a girl, you know, and even they were young. I'm definitively, strongly convinced it was a younger male. It didn't sound as hoarse as like the dad is like so scary. I don't hear that very often, and it's really scary. It's like when the male makes that hoarse call. It's playtime is over. Even when the big male comes around. Actually, Jonathan was there for that too. Jonathan woke me up one night. I remember that so well. We were sleeping in the tent. This is back when we were in freaking tent. And something was moving around in the tent outside. I think he gave me a kick. And you could hear crunch, 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 crunch. Boom. It was a foot touching down. And what he would do is he would put so they have a mid-tarsal joint. So the front part of the foot he would grind, and then he would thump the back part of it into it. So you hear crunch, 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 boom. Crunch, crunch, crunch. He would grind the top of the foot, and then boom, he'd bang the back part of his foot. And Jonathan and I woke up to that. I think that was you, wasn't it, Jonathan? Because that happened on 2 different expeditions. I know it happened for sure with Stefan, my most successful expeditioner of all time, who drives me nuts because he always sees a Sasquatch when he comes out multiple times. And it's amazing. I want to go on expedition with him because the guy is like, the Sasquatches love him. He's a black guy. He's half black, and the Sasquatch love him. I say what you want to say. He's the no. I've had one other black expeditioner come out, and a guy that's Muslim come out, dark skin. It's just, yeah. Stefan just gets crazy. And Stefan does crazy stuff. He's one of the 5 that'll go up to the top of the mountain. Just a tough dude. So Jason Whitley says David doesn't want to lose credibility either, being who he is. I love his stuff. He just states the facts. Yeah, isn't that cool about him? That's really cool. So I'm starting to, but I don't like the David Pilates stuff because it really focuses on negativity, and that's why I don't really want to watch the news. The news is so negative. My mom watches the news. My dad watches the news. They love it. They love all that negativity. If it bleeds, it leads, right? And that attitude has made people in my generation just really dislike the news. And I feel like that's what I would have to say as a critique about David Pilates. He doesn't talk about how Sasquatch, does he have a story about Sasquatch saving somebody's life? Correct me if I'm wrong, because I do. I have the Sasquatch saving my life twice. And those are the stories I want to hear about the good things they do. And see, Jonathan's saying yes. So Jonathan heard the crunch, 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 boom, right? Wasn't that awesome? And Jonathan too. Funny. So he's a trained military guy, right? He does the most amazing thing. He goes, so he knows how to, he has this ability that he's been trained to sleep like this. I'm tired, I go to sleep. And he falls asleep. And the first time I saw him do that, I thought he was kidding. He goes, yeah, okay, we go to sleep now? I go, yeah, you just go to sleep. And he goes, okay. And he falls asleep immediately. And so the day he woke up for the Sasquatch, like Cody was sleeping, Cody didn't wake up. Jonathan gave me a kick. It was scary. Like it was awesome scary because that was clearly a Sasquatch. Like no animal does that. A moose or a deer or no ungulate will do that. A bear can't do that. And why would a bear come around and make that? Like nothing can do that. And there was no freaking human being out there. Even, you know what? A human being couldn't do that. Because we went outside, we tried to duplicate that sound. Like you have to be seriously heavy and powerful. That ground was not loud. It was quiet ground. And there was no tracks being left because the ground was solid and quiet to walk on. You could easily, so he had to literally squish his foot. Go like when you put your shoe down, like with my bare foot, I couldn't make it happen. And the boom at the end was like powerful. Like you need Sasquatch primate power to do it. It was clearly a Sasquatch. And it happened a couple times after that. We did everything we could do. We put game cams out around side, and the Sasquatch we just never got that footage. But what was the point of all this? Anyway, yeah, just totally amazing stuff. I forgot what my point was. But oh yeah, Jonathan just sleeping like that was so awesome. I can't sleep like that. I'm an insomnia guy. I can't sleep at night unless I'm out in the wilderness. If I'm out in the wilderness and I'm hiking, I'm getting fresh air, and the fresh air guys in the wilderness, what happens is, especially in the summertime, you get the sun heats up the trees, and the pores will open and close, and the smell from the trees and the plants gets into your lungs. This is a fact. The natives told me about it. This is an absolute fact. So when you come on out in the wilderness with me, this is one of the miracles that happens. all the all the sap and all this incredible carbon, like natural organic carbon that you breathe in from the plants, it goes into your bloodstream and it bonds to all the toxins. And you're drinking fresh water. You are fed nothing but awesome, healthy, organic, wholesome food with me, the best of the best food. And when you eat really good food, drink really good water, and get all this fresh air, it pulls all the toxins out of you. So what happened to Jonathan and Cody and Stefan, all my expeditioners, about 3 days in, you get freaking exhausted because your body's pushing out all these toxins. You actually become, you get clean, but it's hard for your body. Your liver gets built up, and it works hard, and your kidneys are working hard, pushing out all these toxins. 4 days, 5 days into it, you feel like $1,000,000. You're clean, you're eating good food, you're getting this fresh air, you're just, your body was meant to live that way, guys. That's the way you were designed to live. And it's so refreshing. These guys go home feeling like $1,000,000, and that's why. I don't think I ever told that to you, Jonathan, but it's one of the people want to come back, right? They go home. I can't tell you how many times I've heard this. People go like, that was the greatest vacation I ever had, and I don't understand why I feel so refreshed and so amazing and so great. And that's why is, you know, so I hate that that show didn't even watch it. Well, let's try not to hate things. So I'd like to see that maybe the show did some good. I tried to look at that, and there was some good things that came out of that show maybe. So the show showed the popularity of Sasquatch, right? I mean, it never got canceled. They just kept going and they kept doing reruns, and people love Sasquatch, right? So, and they were talking about Sasquatch. So many things they did were fake, though. It was so fake. Like the town hall meetings were not town hall meetings. You know, the alleged town hall meetings where half the people or more put up their hands, and it goes dun dun dun. Look, this town is. Everybody believes in, or half the town thinks Sasquatch are out here. That was not a town meeting. That was a BFRO meeting. If you'd seen a Sasquatch or you're part of the BFRO, they'd invite you out to this town hall meeting. And then since you're part of the BFRO, half the people have seen a Sasquatch or more. Or they'd bring people that have seen Sasquatch and tell stories. So, and really only the BFRO could do that show. They had the connections to go from town to town. And they were just, I couldn't do a show like that because, and I'm not saying because of the fakeness of it or anything. I'm saying I couldn't do a show like that because I don't have the immense connections that Matt Moneymaker has. And his name is Moneymaker. Oh my God. Why would you change your name to Moneymaker? My goodness. So anyways, let's do some more questions. We're almost done. This has been a long show. I think we're having more fun than usual today, guys. So it's good. I'm not answering as many questions. Todd, it's great that you don't like or hate. The hate gets you, right? It eats you up inside. That's why I don't like to say people. I feel, I've been taught some hatred in the last couple of years, unfortunately. But, let's just, I dislike things and I'm very, like Survivor Man, boy, he is upset about shows like Finding Bigfoot. Hey, that stuff really pisses him off. He thinks that's rooting TV, and I agree with him. The fakeness and the fact that they can profit by being artificial and fake. I mean, as a filmmaker, Survivor Man looks at that show and goes, look at that. Look at they cut away to this shot that was fake. Like they're doing things that are very dishonest. Like as an example, they'll ask me a question and then I'll look this certain way to it, and it's actually a different question they asked me, and my reaction was different. So it makes me look bad when I'm reacting differently to different questions. You know how unethical that is? Like that is horribly unethical. Or they'll cut off the beginning of what I was saying and start me in mid-sentence, and it changes what I'm saying. As an example is Jeff Meldrum says in my documentary, if indeed they are Sasquatch, they are clearly some of the most significant evidence of Sasquatch in existence. Now let's look at that sentence. If indeed they are, so if I take that out, if indeed they are, that's taken out. Then he's saying they are clearly. So if he's just saying they are clearly the most, that is not ethical. That is not appropriate. And here I am talking, and the company my distributor that I was working for did that once to Jeff. And that really upset me and it upset him. And I'm terribly sorry about it. And there's no way I can take it back. But I knew and they don't think there's anything wrong with it. Go, whatever, you just took out the beginning. No, 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 no. That is not okay. That has changed what the man said. It totally changes the sentence. You can't, you know how unethical that is? That is horribly unethical. And Finding Bigfoot did that 5 freaking times to me. And Survivor Man, when he saw that show, the brilliant filmmaker that he is, picked up on that immediately. And then when Cliff Backerman tried to contact Survivor Man, he said, hey, I want to do some stuff with you. And Survivor Man was like, no way, man. I will not touch you with a 10-foot pole. And then Cliff was like, well, it wasn't my fault. It was other people. And, he just doesn't take any blame, doesn't take responsibility. And that's horse shit to me. You're a man. Take some goddamn responsibility for your own freaking actions, right? I'm not here going, well, Finding Bigfoot upset all these people in Morley and now they don't talk to me. No. I introduced those native people to the Finding Bigfoot people and they ripped them off and stole from them and cheated them. That's my fault. I take responsibility for that. They have every right to be upset with me, and that's the way it is. You take bloody responsibility for your own actions. That's part of what's being an adult and grown up. Let's take freaking responsibility for our actions. It's not everybody else's fault. That's pathetic. We're not 5 years old. She did it. It's not my fault. I'm innocent. Crap. Take some damn responsibility for your actions in one way or another. And so Cliff wasn't doing that, and Survivor Man wasn't having any of it. So Cliff told Les Stroud told him to go have a good day. I'm not working with you. You're not. Anyways, I don't want to bash anybody, but Keith says, ever thought that Todd Standing's name sounds like an American Indian name, like John Standing Bear? Todd. You know what? There is a Todd Standing, who's a native guy, who does incredible, amazing work. When I really, really started out, maybe back in 2006, 2007, when I was really just getting, he had more Google. When you Google Todd Standing, he came up. And so there's a real native man in Saskatchewan that helps reform native people out of drug addiction and alcohol addiction. He's a hero. He's an absolute hero. And it sucks that my name has totally annihilated and eclipsed him. You can't even find him anymore at all. He's gone in the Google searches. I'm in the first 3 million pages now, which sucks. I give him credit. He's a hero of mine. When I looked into what he did, and I met some native people, I met native people that have been saved by him, that have been overcome their addictions because of that Todd Standing in Saskatchewan. Amazing. But my name is tremendously original, though. I'm the only Todd Standing on Facebook and on Instagram, so it's weird because every name I seem to Google, there's like 5 different people that have that same name, or in Facebook as an example. And so pretty cool. But interesting though that my name is like that. I do have I'm like 132nd or 164th native, so I think it's 132nd. I have some native in me. I'll look into that more. I'll get my DNA test done, right? Get that. But I have it on excellent authority from a family member that I definitively do have some native blood in me. So hi, my name is Kathy. I'm from Eastern Kentucky. I want to say hi. I want to say good night, Todd. Well, good night, Kathy. Thank you. I love Kentucky. Oh man, I got people in Kentucky. I was down in Kentucky. That's where I met Melba Ketchum. I went and picked Melba Ketchum up. People don't even know this, right? So apparently the not Davy Crockett, Davy Boone or Daniel Boone, the guy who has the knife. So what's that knife called? Anyways, the guy who's famous for the knife apparently killed a Sasquatch. There was a cave out there that Melba Ketchum said she knew that there was a cave out there, that there was a Sasquatch body in. So I went and got involved in her, and that was a freaking nightmare. You can be grateful for what Melba Ketchum did for the DNA stuff. I'm really not, because it wasn't her. It was Adrian Erickson that paid for all that and made it happen. She just took all the credit, and there's other geneticists and other people. People got the sample, the boots on the ground, and the guys who paid for it got no freaking credit. She took all the credit, and that's not cool. So that just shows the character, and she is not a field researcher, and she should not ever be out in the field. And my mom taught me to, if you don't have anything good to say about somebody, don't say it. So this is what I have to say about Melba Ketchum. So next question. But Kentucky? Oh man, I met some people in Kentucky. Damn. And apparently, don't quote me on this, I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure James Earl Jones, his dad, is from Kentucky. And James Earl Jones called me. This is back when I was on Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell, one of the biggest paranormal radio shows in the world. Like 400,000 people were listening to me talk to Art Bell for the whole show. And James Earl Jones called me after. And here's an awesome story, right? So he calls me. I don't know how he got me. He just called Coast to Coast. This is James. He talks to you on the phone, man. And when he calls me, he goes, "Good day, Mr. Standing. I heard you on Coast to Coast M. I was very impressed. Do you know who this is?" And I went, "Yes, Mr. Jones." This is right out of nowhere. But his voice is like, right? Punch you right in the face. Like, that's James Earl Jones. And he told me, I'm pretty sure he's from Kentucky. Don't quote me. I was really starstruck when he called me because I'm just a fan. I don't know. He's a hero. I don't know why. I think that I just do. He's just just the way he is and his presence is just outstanding. So anyways, he calls me. He tells me this story. And again, I met some wonderful people in Kentucky. I love Kentucky. I can't wait to go back to Kentucky. Because there was Adrian Erickson had some Sasquatch stuff happen there, and I met some amazing people from Kentucky. And it was northern Kentucky, right beside. I was just below Ohio, right at the top of where Kentucky is. Anyways, he told me that he knows Sasquatch is real, and I went, "Oh, have you had an experience?" He goes, "No, sir, I have not. But my father, his whole life, I knew my father. My father was a hard-working man, and my father went through how difficult it was to live in Kentucky back in those days. He had the worst of it all. It was a nightmare in my life growing up. And my father was a good man. And what my father never did is my father never lied. My father always told the truth." And then he said something I never heard before. He said, "As far as I'm concerned, my father walked on water." And it was touching the way he said it. He said it in some beautiful way, not precisely like that, but he said, when my father said something, in my family, my father walked on water. And one day we came home, and there was, in the town that he was living in, somebody had seen a Sasquatch, and everyone was mocking him and chastising him. And James came home and told his dad, and the family was like laughing at this guy because, he's a fool, there's no Sasquatch. And the dad said, "Everybody to the dinner table now." And we all sat down, and my dad said, "You don't harass this man anymore because they are real. Sasquatch are real." And that was it. He said, "Everybody in my family knew forevermore Sasquatch was real. My dad never exaggerated. My dad always absolutely told the truth, and I want to be a dad like that." Right? So I want to be the dad that just taught me so much, that James has a dad who says something and that's it. And he knows Sasquatch are real. And I realized there are probably millions of people out there like that have never seen a Sasquatch, but their dad or their brother or their friend who never lied and always told the truth and has nothing but integrity. And doesn't that matter? Doesn't your word matter anymore? And I know you people don't know me. Jonathan knows me, and Andy knows me, and Cody and Jeff Meldrum and Les Stroud, they know me. And that's why even Survivor Man said on the show, why would somebody do this? And the more I get to know Todd, the more I see he's not interested in the fame and the fame and the fortune is crap. It's more a negative thing than a positive thing. But it's the word that matters. And I can't tell you how many people I've met that go, "Well, I know Sasquatch is real," because that was the first time I ever heard that. And I've heard it 100 times since. I never saw one, but my mom did, my dad did, my blah blah did, my uncle did. My family did. My people have told me that. The native people, my people say they're real. They're real. That's it. You don't call my people liars. My people have been here for tens of thousands of years. We know Sasquatch are real. So we're way into overtime. Way into overtime here. So thanks so much, guys. We had a lot to talk about. Aren't these shows fun? How do we come up with a name like Money? Yeah, isn't it? It's kind of not cool, right? It says a lot about the person. Doesn't it say, like, it's right in your face, right? Like, here's the document, Snake Oil Productions. I'm signing a waiver so they can use my name and my image to Snake Oil Productions. It's like, duh. They ripped you off. They stole from you. So, but yeah, so words matter. Let's try to be honest too. So I love hearing your stories. I could listen for hours. Thank you so much for being a stand-up man. This is from Sandy Brill. It's a pleasure to know you, Sandy. Thank you. Northern Minnesota Sasquatch says, "I will post a link to the TP's Hangout video when the stream is over for anyone who wants to go see them. 6 of the TP structures and circuit boarding." Anyways, that sounds cool. Yeah, that's what I have is those TP structures that I've shown many people on expeditions. Have you seen Barb Goldie's YouTube video? I think I met Barb, or did I meet Barb? I was around Barb, I think, for the Sasquatch Summit that I was the keynote speaker for a couple years ago with Jeff and John, and Survivor Man went out to it. I'm pretty sure I met her there. So, and I've heard about her. She has a dog, right, that she takes around. So, Washington State people, man, oh my God, that is such incredible Sasquatch habitat. My grandmother told me about Bigfoot. There you go, John Harmon, right here, right live, right? And I bet you're, you know, you love your grandmother. That matters so much, people. That matters so much. There are people that are, their grandpa or their father's passed on, or some of their uncles passed on, and their uncle told them that, or the dad or whoever it was told them Sasquatch are real. And that's evidence enough. That's it. It's over. They know it. You don't have to convince them. And I'm not really what this is about. What my channel is about is it's really about the discovery process and making this discovery a reality. So whatever it takes to do that, and no glitches, guys. Isn't that cool? SoCal Forest Ninjas. You guys will appreciate it. Frank, you're always out here so much. Hey, Ashley. Thanks, Ashley. You're welcome. I'm honored. I do this all for us. It's all for us, guys. So it really is. So take that. That documentary is ours, and own it like it's ours. You guys that are out here, you know everything. And thank you so much for your support. And I'll be back next Wednesday. 95% sure. There's really no reason. It's winter here. I'm just working on the next movie. And so thanks so much for all your questions, guys. And from Tennessee, really? Like, man, you guys are awesome. So take care, guys, and I'll see you next week. It's late, and this is a big, long show, and it was just fun. So take care. I'll be back next week, and there'll be a Saturday video. Yay! I'm gonna do something. I don't know what, but I'm gonna figure it out. So stay tuned for the Saturday video on Saturday.